So today, I have a really fun video for you that I also hope will be one of the most beneficial ones that you get to watch this year. I went out and brought together 4 of your favorite credit card content creators and faced them with one of their toughest strategy challenges yet. This is going to be a good one, so we'll dive right on in. So with the 4 creators in the credit card space, I've shared this very chart and I explained to them that they have only $12 to spend to assemble their very best possible credit card wallet. But that's not it. I've tapped into uniquely what each of these creators do extremely well and twisted the challenge just slightly to see how they'd adopt their strategy for my specific spin I put on that question. I'll show you what they had to say right now, and of course, let you know if I think they nailed it or not. Finally, if you want to see any more from each of these talented creators, go down to the link in the description, and I have the 4 listed in the order in which they've answered the challenge. Our first creator up is Stan the Credit Frog, and for those of you who know Stan, you know he's got some of the best strategic setups in the credit card game and some really high-level strategy to tap into. So for Stan, I wanted to start him with the most general possible question of the creators and give him the freedom to work. Stan, you've got $12 to spend, so how would you build your dream wallet setup?
Okay, so Artie reached out to me with this fun challenge to build my dream wallet setup based on the provided chart. And for me, my choice would be the Amex Platinum at $5, the Bilt MasterCard at $3, and 2 Hilton Surpass cards at $2 a piece. So as you can see, this is a core credit card setup that is based on Amex MR points, Hilton Honors points, and Bilt points. My strategy would be to use the Amex Platinum as a specialty card and benefits card for 5x points back on flights with the option to transfer those points to airline partners or to Hilton Honors points if need be. I'd also use the Bilt MasterCard as a specialty card for 1x points back on rent and hopefully on mortgage payments too when that option becomes available. Finally, I'd use the Hilton Surpass cards as my main cards for those elevated multipliers on everyday spending categories, specifically 6x points back on US dining, at US supermarkets, and at US gas stations. So many of you may be wondering, which card is my catch-all credit card? Well, in this setup, I'd utilize both the Hilton Surpass cards for 2 15K free night rewards, as well as the Bilt MasterCard for Bilt Elite status, and this is how that would go. At the beginning of the calendar year, I'd use my first Surpass card for all purchases and put $15,000 on that card to earn the first free night reward, and then I'd switch to the second Surpass card for all purchases and put the next $15,000 on that card to earn that second free night reward. And after I spent $15,000 on both cards, I'd revert back to typical category spend per card, but the remaining catch-all spend would either go on the Bilt MasterCard for Bilt Elite status, or it had the option to go for the $40,000 in spend on a Surpass to earn Hilton Diamond status instead. And so that would be my basic strategy using that setup, but let me explain why I chose those cards. To start, I'd like to have a luxury travel credit card, and Big Daddy Platinum is that card for me. But having said that, I'm more of a cash back person, so why didn't I go that route? When looking at the provided chart, we can see that we don't have the full complement of cash back cards to choose from, like the US Bank Cash Plus card or any Bank of America cards, so for that reason, cashback was out. Hotel credit cards are also very powerful, and I definitely wanted those in my dream setup too. But there was a similar limitation with this chart in mind. Cards such as the Amex Marriott Bonvoy Business, Chase Ritz-Carlton, any Hyatt card, or any IHG card weren't listed, so the choice to go with Hilton was pretty much a given. Lastly, and this may be a hot take, but in my opinion, the Hilton Surpass card is in the wrong tier. Since it was a $2 card, I took 2 of them, and I probably should have taken 3, but the 1x on rent for no annual fee on the Bilt card was just too good to pass up, especially since welcome offers aren't a consideration in this dream wallet scenario. So with that being said, I want to thank RD again for inviting me to participate in this challenge, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the other credit card content creators come up with.
Thanks so much, Stan. On the strategies Stan pitched, first, I love the earnings coverage that he brings all across the lineup, really in just 3 cards. However, the golden part of the strategy is, of course, the 2x Hilton Surpass card. Stan knows he's simply got the spend to get that restaurant, grocery store, and gas earnings category twice on those cards to also earn 2 free night award certificates. Now, this is brilliant because meeting those spend limits on the Hilton free night gets him 2 certs that are going to be uncapped because Hilton has no caps on their free night certificates. That means Stan can start to stack rooms at some of the nicest properties across the Hilton Empire and really ball out on vacation using this simple lineup. The Hilton Surpass also comes naturally with gold status, which means he'll get things like a free breakfast complimentary on his stay. Now, I stand a little bit more about this strategy, and if any of you want to follow the same methods, you can simply apply one after another to get both Surpass cards. Or you could try the strategy of applying for one Hilton Surpass card, then applying for the basic $0 annual fee Hilton card, and product changing your way up into the second Hilton Surpass card. Really, either way should be fine because you're not likely going to get the second sign-up bonus on your second Surpass, no matter which strategy you use to apply. Stan, great job, and I expected nothing less from you. Next is a creator you know and love. This is someone who's known for showing all sorts of different credit card strategies, but specifically ones that can get the most bang for a buck in taking entire families on incredible vacations. In fact, he's working on a 10-person mega redemption to Hawaii for his entire family with just credit card points right now. This is, of course, Luke from Luke's Points and Miles. So Luke, you've got $12 to spend. What credit card lineup would you assemble to most benefit the goals of an entire family?
What's up, guys? Luke here from Luke's Points and Miles. First off, thank you, Rick, for having me on the channel, and I gladly accept this challenge, which gave me a huge headache, by the way. You know my answer is always, just get every card. But to narrow it down to just a $12 buy-in, I chose the following. First off, I chose the Hilton Aspire for $4. I thought that was a bargain. I also doubled down and I bought the Hilton Surpass for $3. To complement those two hitters, I chose the Chase Sapphire Reserve for $5 and I picked up the Chase Freedom Flex to make a nice Chase duo. My basic strategy here is, despite what my heart says, my family benefits greatly from the Hilton Honors points, and with these two cards, I would never be points poor as far as hotels and resorts go. The Surpass would probably be my biggest spender, and I would use that for the 6 times on gas and groceries. And hey, I'd even use the Hilton cards as a catch-all for 3X. And we definitely get the free cert on the Surpass. The Chase Sapphire Reserve, whether we're talking about the new or old version, here let's go with the old, or for me, the current version. It gives me access to airport lounges, Chase transfer partners, a 50% boost in the portal, rest in peace. And let's never forget about the league-leading travel and purchase protections when you use this Visa Infinite card. The Freedom Flex is a decent card to max out those 5X categories and hopefully take advantage of some really good Chase offers. I went with these cards for pure simplicity. My basic strategy is this: plenty of Hilton Honors points and free nights. And I would definitely utilize the Chase Travel Portal for domestic economy flights. I'm to the point where I'm paying cash for a lot of my economy stuff now, so that should counterbalance not having a way of earning a ton of UR points. Cash for economy, transfer partners for the overseas stuff. I'm super curious what some of the other guys chose, and remember, my position is dad, so that was the biggest factor in my decision. Once again, thank you, Rick, for having me on here, and I can't wait to see the video.
Now here we've got another creator who immediately jumped into the Hilton portfolio, tapping into one Hilton Surpass, but this time going all the way up to the Hilton Aspire, but still eventually arriving at the 2 free night award certificates. While Luke did not commit to the Amex ecosystem quite as much as Stan did, he still went down a similar path, but is able to provide incredible experiences for a big group with that lineup. Luke, great answer, and thank you for coming on. Next up is a creator you may have recognized from filming a lot of his videos inside of his Tesla, but now you probably also recognize him just as much for his stylish headwear. However, what you should really know him for is the crazy way he can manipulate sign-up bonuses for insanely high-value vacations. This one is going to blow some of you away. Anthony Venture, my challenge for you. You've got $12. what is the best setup that you can assemble to take you and your wife on an incredible vacation?
Well, thank you so much, RD, for inviting me to this challenge with all these heavy hitters. Okay, so I chose 4 different credit cards for this entire journey. And mind you, we are planning a trip for 5 nights in Japan, flying decently there and staying in an insane hotel. And we're going to do it with 4 different credit cards, one being the Hilton Aspire for $4, the Hilton Surpass for $2, the Capital One Venture for $2, and the Chase Sapphire Preferred for $4, totaling $12 for this entire challenge. Now we're going to get the record high welcome offers and ones that I've actually gotten in real life as well. So 175K with the Aspire, 130K and a free night certificate with the Surpass. We're also going to be getting 100K with the Sapphire Preferred, which I personally got, and 100K from the Capital One Venture card. Okay, we're going to take our Venture miles and we're going to transfer them over to Qantas, and we're going to book, give me a little bit of grace, a little bit of spend on the Venture. I think we can get up to 120K points, but we could fly premium economy in Qantas all the way out from LAX to Haneda. Okay, cool. Very, very nice premium economy seats. Next, we're going to be landing in Haneda, and we just have a 20-minute drive to our next hotel, which is the Hilton Tokyo Bay. It is actually specifically a Hilton resort property, and we will have 85,000 points left over, factoring in a little bit of spend with our cards, about 45,000 worth of spend, plus the welcome offer alone will end up giving us about 350,000 minus the 85K needed for this night, meaning we'll have about 260,000 left. Remember that. So we booked this hotel, and the reason I'm choosing this one is because it's close to the airport, only 20 minutes, and I'm going to be able to use the $200 Hilton Resort credit at this property because it is a resort. And if the dining experience is just too good at this property, like it's just too amazing and too expensive, we want to go and splurge and it's maybe $250, I can use the Hilton Surpass $50 quarterly credit to top that up. And now we have an insane $250 dinner that we got after landing after a very long flight. Okay, cool. Wake up the next day, take an Uber all the way to the bullet train, head over to Kyoto. We're going to book this hotel, the Sawaka. This one, there is a standard room award availability, 130,000 points per night. So remember, we have 260,000 left over. So that's 2 nights there. And then the Hilton Aspire card comes with its own free night certificate, and the Hilton Surpass card with the welcome offer does include a free night certificate. I actually did this in real life recently. I'm going to be staying here at some point in the next year. Okay, cool. So that's 4 full nights at the Sawaka in Kyoto. And that cash price is about 287,000 yen every single night, which would end up being about $2,000 every single day in US dollars. So about an $8,000 hotel, factoring in taxes and fees. Not too bad. Bam, wake up the next morning, bullet train out to Tokyo. We're going to fly out using United. So about 130,000 chase points we need. I get the welcome offer is only 100K. If I'm not allowed to, move a little bit and get that extra 30K, all right, put me in economy. I totally understand, but please, RD, just let me fly premium economy on United on the way back. Please give me that grace. Bam. And then unfortunately, we're flying into SFO, not LAX. So maybe we got to do a 6.5-hour drive to get back to our home airport. So I thought that was fun. After factoring everything in, that's 4 different credit cards and probably an over $10,000 vacation for me and my wife to fly in style and stay extremely in style to Japan. Thank you, RD. And I hope it stacks up with the other heavy hitters in this group. Peace out.
Anthony is someone you clearly do not want to mess with when booking a vacation. We're talking about somebody who essentially turned 4 nights at a $2,000 a night hotel, $8,000 in potential hotel spend, into an insane vacation in Japan, essentially for free with just credit card annual fees and the points that he earned on those. I want to encourage you to watch back through his explanation, but also note that in doing so, Anthony was able to make this stay happen by strategically indicating that he was going to apply for these cards at their all-time high sign-up bonuses. Anthony, I'll let you know, your setup was so good that I am going to give you a little bit of grace and allow you to spend just a bit on those cards to meet that incredible redemption you laid out for us. Thanks so much for joining. Finally, here's a creator that needs no introduction. We've been following Spencer Johnson along the way as he showed us step by step exactly how he's built out his own impressive wallet setup. So Spencer, you've got $12. How would you assemble your dream travel credit card setup?
Well, Rick, first of all, thank you for having me on. I don't think that my choices are going to surprise many of my regular viewers, but I do have a couple of wild cards up my sleeve, so let's just dive into it. First, I'm going to spend $5 whole on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. After that, I'm going to skip the $4 and $3 tiers and drop all the way to the $2 cards, where I'll be picking up both the Chase Freedom Unlimited and the Hilton Surpass. Yes, that one might be a weird one, but we'll talk about it in a second. After that, I chose 3 $1 cards to round out my $12 setup, those being the Chase Freedom Flex, Citi Custom Cash, and Discover It credit cards. My basic strategy was to lock in the Chase Trifecta, where I'll get 5x back on rotating quarterly categories through the Freedom Flex, which fingers crossed has some grocery and gas coverage. Then I get 3x back on dining and travel purchases using my Chase Sapphire Reserve, and 1.5x on everything else with the Chase Freedom Unlimited. Chase points are my most valued currency, especially with the guaranteed 1.5 cent per point redemption rate through the travel portal, thanks to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, as well as their transfer partners that fit my travel habits perfectly. After that, I just wanted broad hotel status, and the Hilton Surpass card is great at that, giving you Hilton Gold. And it also is an opportunity for me to get a surrogate welcome offer every year if these are the only cards I could ever hold, since you can spend $15,000 on the Surpass to lock in a free night award every calendar year. Although I don't generally stay at Hilton's, that Hilton Gold status is much more valuable than like the silver status on the Marriott Boundless card or Discover status on the Hyatt card. And that plus their very large footprint is why I chose this path. Then I filled in the rest of my spending gaps with 2 cashback credit cards, the Citi Custom Cash being like a general flex card I can use for 5x back on my top eligible spend category every month up to $500. I would assume that's going to be used for gas most of the time, but it could change around. And then the Discover It will just cover me at more 5% categories like the Freedom Flex, and theoretically, I'm hoping that in the combination of those rotating category cards and the Flex card in the Citi Custom Cash, I would always have my gas and groceries covered on top of my dining, travel, and everything else. Part of me thought about locking in cards with the highest point earning potential, which sounds like the right move, which would include getting cards like the Amex Gold as well as the Citi Trifecta with multiple Citi Custom Cashes. But as I've always preached as like a core tenet of my channel, I think you should focus on the ecosystems that serve you the best, and Chase is exactly that for me. I really value their flexibility, and you can do some really amazing things with their points if you take the time to learn about them. So that's why I decided to take this path. Rick, thanks again for having me, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Now, I wanted to let you all know that I spoke with Spencer specifically on this, and he wanted to keep the Chase Sapphire Reserve in the strategy, even though he recorded this just before the new changes to the card were leaked. Even though losing that guaranteed 1.5 cent per point redemption with the card in the portal is a blow, still having been someone who's had the card, he'll be able to spend his points at that 1.5 level all the way through October of 2027. So it's still a valid strategy for existing cardholders to get that high guaranteed redemption value. I think this is the best hybrid credit card setup we've seen yet. As you can tell through his content, Spencer is clearly a big fan of Chase, and he's really given himself 2 strong hotel options that I see here. One specifically through Chase and the option to transfer out to Hyatt and that valuable transfer partner if needed. And the other, of course, through spend naturally on the Hilton Surpass card. Again, the 4th creator who's picked this card as a part of their setup, showing you the potential value that this card can have in a lot of different wallets. Okay, last but not least, I'll share my own thoughts on the setup that I would have created. Since we're so value oriented, meaning getting the best bang for your buck out of the credit cards you pull into your wallet, I'll go with the premise that I want to create the best value-based setup I can with a $12 limit. First, I'd create the Capital One Duo. That's the Capital One Saver card at $3, plus the Venture card, the regular Venture rewards at a $2 price point. That's the most efficient duo that you can create here for just $5, whereas the Citi, Chase, and American Express are all going to cost you $6, $7, and even more. Then I'll add the Citi Custom Cash for $1 before bringing in an experiential card in the Delta SkyMiles Reserve at $4 and the Amex Green card as a play in synergy off of the Delta SkyMiles Reserve for the price of $2. My strategy right away was to knock out my most important earnings categories. Of course, the Capital One Venture Rewards card is going to bring the 2x all in on every single purchase I make, no matter what. However, I'm getting enhanced earning categories in entertainment and streaming with the Capital One Saver card. Of course, I can merge Saver Cash back into Venture Miles and then use the long list of Venture transfer partners to make absolute maximum advantage of those points there. To supplement things, I brought in the Citi Custom Cash. I'll likely use that in my gas category, which gets a little bit close sometimes to $500 a month, so a very efficient use there. And then with $6 left to spend, I targeted the Delta SkyMiles Reserve card. I see this as a super big value card, because it's really easy for myself to use the credits on this card, making it sustainable and get more value from the credits than the annual fee that I'd have to pay. I fly Delta more than any other airline, and this card has a companion ticket that I could at least use once a year for a free round trip flight with my wife. It also includes lounge access to the beautiful new Sky Club in Kansas City, which is my home airport, and a little bit of a hotel benefit because it allocates $200 in hotel credits that you can use at any Delta Stays property. Finally, the Amex Green Card is for complete synergy. I'll take the 3X mostly exclusively on dining, but sometimes on travel and transit when I can use it. Take all those membership rewards points and transfer them over to my Delta SkyMiles card to use them for a 15% ingrained boost when redeeming award flights through Delta. That effectively makes my Amex Green Card spend at least worth 3.45x back and potentially more. At the end of the day, I want phenomenal earnings coverage with some cards that I can really enjoy some experiences on that have that synergy there to keep the points coming. To all of the creators in this video, I want to say thank you. To all the viewers out there, if you liked what you saw, I want to encourage you to go check out one of their channels as well. With the same $12 limit, I want to know what your setups would have been in the comments. Did any of us get this extremely wrong? Let us know. We're all going to be listening and watching.